Hey, I live in Providence, and I've dedicated myself to being an activist to end the disastrous and inhumane war on drugs. And I'm 100% behind Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders clearly understands that the so-called war on drugs is really a war on people. It's a war on people of color, it's a war on young people, and it's a war on people who suffer with the disease of addiction. And it's a disastrous policy that we must end. Bernie Sanders also understands that Black Lives Matter. And part of that struggle is dismantling the police prison industrial complex, which profits off of the war on drugs. He's the only candidate that's willing to stand up and take on those special interests. He doesn't take money from private prison lobbyists. He's going to fight those people. And that's the type of leadership that we need. In the United States, we have more prisons than we have colleges. This is absurd. We are putting more people in prison and jails than any other country in the entire world. You know, Bernie Sanders supporters, I think we love our statistics, you know, the 1%, the 90%. Well, another statistic that's pretty shocking is that we have 5% of the world's population, but we're home to 25% of the world's prison population. This is abysmal. We need to be investing in schools, not more prisons and jails. Senator Sanders also understands that in this country, we really have two criminal justice systems, two legal systems. One which is for the 1%, and one that's for the rest of us. So a couple of quick stories. Fairly recently, a student at URI was caught selling small amounts of marijuana. That student lost his student loans, he was kicked out of school, and he spent a year in the ACI. Ruined his life. He has a criminal record that makes it almost impossible to get a job, makes it more difficult to provide affordable housing for his family, and his life has been ruined by this charge. Now, another story is that one of the big banking giants, HSBC, recently admitted that they laundered money from drug cartels. Billions of dollars from drug cartels. They admitted it, and what happened to them? They paid a fine, right? This is the two legal systems that we have. One is for the 1%, where they get a slap on the wrist, pay a fine, and one for the rest of us, where we ruin millions of people's lives. No one at HSBC has gone to prison for laundering billions of dollars of drug cartel money. Bernie Sanders understands why that's happening. He understands what we need to do to dismantle that hypocrisy, and that's why I'm 100% in support of him. Next week, global leaders from across the world are meeting in New York City for the United Nations Special Assembly on Drug Policy. This is an opportunity for the United States to lead the effort to undo the disastrous global war on drugs. Bernie Sanders signed onto a letter to the Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, asking for a robust discussion and an end to the global war on drugs. Bernie Sanders signed that letter. Hillary Clinton did not. I think that speaks to the type of leadership that we're going to see from Senator Sanders. He's willing to take this struggle globally. He's willing to stand up to the war on drugs and those who profit from it on a national and international level. And that's the type of leadership that we really need. But I want to emphasize something else that several other folks have spoken to, particularly Representative Regenberg, who was up here. You know, this political revolution that we're part of, it isn't just about electing Bernie Sanders. The presidency is one thing, but the political revolution has to take place right here as well. So we have legislation that all of you can contact your representatives, contact your state senators, let them know that you don't want to see the war on drugs here in Rhode Island anymore. You want them to know how you feel about these issues. Run for office and get involved in local politics. I think that that's such a crucial point. We can't just let this movement end when we elect Senator Sanders, and trust me, I'm going to be dancing in the street when that happens. But we've got to continue organizing. We've got to continue pushing. We've got to continue being involved on a local level. So thank you, everybody, for being out here today. It's just so energizing to see all this support for Bernie. And let's rock it here in Rhode Island. Let's take it to D.C. Let's elect Senator Sanders. Thank you so much.